Well, here I am. It's about 4 weeks into my stay here in the UK, and the weather hasn't been that good. In fact, it's been atrocious. Got some interesting video of the surrounding area, but nothing much because of the rain, the constant rain, the wind, the cold. Yeah. Today, though, it's nice, and I've made arrangements to see an old friend of mine. I grew up with him during the 60s. We were close friends. He is about 2 years older than me, but his memory is a lot sharper and better. So I will be introducing you to Clive Hazel, my friend. Now, 2 years ago, I came over to visit, and I was walking up by what we call the res, or the reservoir. We grew up with it when I was a kid. As I'm walking along the bottom part of the reservoir, I see this guy taking a pee. I'm thinking, okay, pretend you haven't seen anything. This is life in the valleys, you know. So as I'm walking along, he starts saying, oh, well, you know, just my luck. I need to pee because of the medication I'm on, and someone turns up. And I said, don't worry about it. Didn't see anything. And he carries on talking away, and the closer I got, I realized that I knew him. So I went up to him and I said, good grief, it's Clive Hazel. And he kind of looked at me and said, who else would it be? And I said, you don't recognize me, do you? And he went and said, oh, I'm thinking now, I said, I'll give you a clue. 44, that's the house I grew up in. My God, he says, Billy Hodges. I said, the one and only. And we had a good time then, reminiscing and catching up. Well, this year, 2 years later, I was walking up past his house, and he had said 2 years ago, whenever you're passing, call in for a cup of tea. So as I'm passing, I'm thinking, I think I'll call in for a cup of tea. So up I went. His wife was sitting on the front door porch there. And I said, excuse me, is Clive Hazel living here? Yes, lovely, she said, come in. Clive, someone here to see you. He comes out, and once again, he's looking like this. I said, good grief, Clive, it's only been 2 years. You still don't recognize me? Oh, good God, it's Billy Hodges. And once again, we had a nice little time together. Well, today we've decided to meet up, and we are going to go for a walk up the mountain where we used to play as kids. So in about an hour's time, I'll be meeting him, and you are welcome to join us. I'm the Grumpy Grandpa. So, as promised, here I am with my dear old friend, Clive Hazel. And we are up by the jam pot, one of our haunts while we were a kid. Here's Clive.
Here we are then. I am Clive Hazel. I'm standing by our old haunt where me and Billy used to play when we were kids. This is the jam pot. The jam pot was a transformer house for the power, for the tip behind us where the colliery used to tip its waste. We will go down there later on, and we will see the Sacred Valley and various other parts where me and Billy used to play. We would go into a place called the Bushy, where we used to have a den, but I think it's a very, very boggy place now. So we'll just see if we can video that from up here, because it's only over the mountain. And we shall tell you some more as we go along. And here we are, right behind me in the background is what Billy said as the reservoir. The reservoir is in the distance. It's empty now, but it was very full at the time. There was a big wall right around it with a few holes in it. Now it's a bit of a mess. There's a big leak in it, so they've emptied it. But that was one of our favourite haunts, to go in there and hide from the waterboard man. Here we are, we're going down Pedro Tip to the Sacred Valley where we used to play, and into the sort of looking over the tint bushy. We used to go bird nesting here, loads of thrushes, magpies and blackbirds. A couple of long-tailed tits occasionally, and that's what we used to enjoy. Don't fall now, come here now, look where you're going.
Wouldn't be the first time.
Oh, I don't want to fall. Not ready to get shit off the grandkids now, am I right? Don't you fall, you break your hip, you'll be very ill. Yeah, you have a shop down here, man.
Yeah.
They spent thousands on it.
Because this is all tip when we were kids, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, this is all tip. All tip.
Yep.
Still tip, Bill. They put God knows how much fertilizer on it, the grow shit on here.
Oh, I bet.
Pumps and pumps of it. And somebody made a big mistake, right? Of putting this, it was from somewhere, we don't know where it come from. Putting this stuff down now, and thousands of giant daisies grew. And they thought, oh, somebody decided they were poisonous. So then they said, guys in suits, son, to spray it all and put more manure on it. Very crazy. Well, I'm hoping now we'll be able to see that our bushy. Either from by here or go to the end we will now.
Alright.
We don't want to go down the steep bit. Just a look. Go round here and we should be able to see it. And we'll have a chat. Now we are going to the Sacred Valley. We're going to walk up into there through the trees now, and we will see the Sacred Valley. Something by here, it's a bit damp and wet because of the weather. And this is an old coal mining tip. And we will drop down. What shoes you got on, Bill?
They're alright.
Oh, you'll have wet feet.
They're by no means waterproof,
You'll
but...
have wet feet, but that's nothing unusual when we was a kid.
Exactly.
We always had wet bloody feet.
Oh, yeah.
All Wellington's on. And we're going to the trees by here now. And it should, but it's been a long time since I walked through here. Open out to the valley. We go through some dark trees. As you can see, it's pretty steep. Yes. And it goes all the way down. We go back out, Bill, and we go around. Don't have this toilet, Bill. Oh, you can see it's filled up in rubbish here. Right, here we are. I'm not going down there, but it is very steep, very sharp. We will go around the end and we'll be able to see it from the other side of the tip now in a minute. We used to do all our playing down here, but it wasn't like this, was it, Bill?
No.
It was all shale, it was all tips. We'll go outside by here and show you what we played on when we was kids. This is the kind of ground what it was like everywhere. There were no trees on this type of the mountain. This was an old coal tip. There is 4 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, and we had a whale of a time here. We're going to go down by here now and across. I don't think we'll be able to get to see the den, but this is where we played on. From summer it was absolutely boiling because the heat of a black coal waste and coal, as you can see. This is best anthracite steam coal from the seam of the boot where I worked. I worked down there, and here it is, a nice big chunk. All shiny, all like that. 5 foot high coal seam, brilliant stuff. That's what they run steam ships on, and all the steam engines and everything you could think of that needed steam. And they sent them to power stations, mixed them with some cheap coal, not to burn the power station out. There's too many bloody trees here, like, isn't there?
Oh yeah.
But you will see this now, it'll tip over now. Down here. And if we go through the grass here, this is where we used to be. It's called the Sacred Valley. We started to look at it. We dropped down onto the end of the tint bushy. It's a bit rough along here, but it's alright, and a bit mossy. I still can't get a bloody good view of it. But as you can see, it drops sharply down there. And we'll go back over there and then we'll show you the rest of the tip. This makes a ravine, and the tip just flows all the way down to Penrith Colliery from the other way. We'll walk down a bit now and you shall see it. Up there, 2 farms. And Lewis on his horse. To come out about 4 o'clock, this place would be covered in sheep. He'd come down with his big horse, out of there, through the tint bushy by there, him and the sheepdog gathering sheep. Right across the tip, down the tip, across the mountain to the reservoir where you've seen by there, then back up onto the reservoir because he came behind the houses, and the sheep would all follow him all the way back up the green carpet. Obviously Billy has showed you the green carpet, haven't you?
Yeah.
All the way up into the track on the jam pot, across the road, and all the way back to that farm every night. And he'd do that come summer or winter. No matter what happened, Lewis would be out. And he was a huge, big, huge, fat fella. He never talked to you. He never said hello. He was a scruffy bugger. But we never had no wrestle off him like the other farmers. Get off my land, and what are you doing here, and this and that. He was one of the nice guys. Well, you can see now, as we come down here, how steep it was. We used to play on this. It was absolutely great fun. And if you look to my left, you can see how quick the valley, our Sacred Valley, where we used to hide, mess about for hours and hours, drops into tint bushy. This is how steep it was. In other places it's even steeper. We used to slide down in the snow. In the summer you wouldn't slide down there, it would be too rough. But when there was snow on it, it was pretty good, wasn't it, Bill?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was a good place, but it was a fair walk from where we lived to bring a sledge here, and we used to enjoy it. But that's what we used to do, and that's what we did most holidays and weekends. Spend most of our time up around here playing hell with some people. And we're going to go and we won't see our den from here. We're going to have to go back up to the road and have a look. I think they've grown trees and everything and you can see where we played, where there's no trees, no grass, just tip, like we are standing on by a shale waste is called. And if you can imagine, I don't know, Billy can't get it all in because it's huge. If you can imagine this area here, that's one, how can I say this, 1 times 3 times the coal come out to 1 time of this muck. So 1 shovelful of this would be 3 shovelfuls of coal. So you can imagine how much coal they took from our valleys. But this was our play area and we loved it, every minute of it.
Okay.
God alive. This is a few years old. This is the piece of chain which would be, I should imagine, 40 millimeters round, and there'd be 3 of them linked together. One would have a big D on the end with a pin, the other one with a pin, and this would be so big. Of course, vehicles and this have run over it, and it must be 40, 45, maybe older, years old, and they shackled the drums together. Well, were pulled up here to be tipped by a steam crane, and we'll show you the other side of the tip later on where the steam crane worked. Are you happy? Because that's a good find. Very nice. The proper name for these were called shackles. They weighed quite a weight, I would say over 100 weight. Well, I wouldn't quite 100 weight, but they were linked 3 or 4 together with chains, and people would stick their heads between the drums and disconnect them and throw them out of the way one-handed. I have done this on numerous occasions, and you do make your arms and shoulder ache. So that's what that is. We'll try and find some more as we go along. Right, I'm going back to the shackles. Now this was why you'll hear when you mingled with coal miners and worked with coal miners from the Rhondda. They would go home and say, or they would tell you underground, I'm having a bowl of shackles for dinner. A bowl of shackles was a lamb stew. And they'd have half a loaf of bread and a bowl of shackles, because the stew would never fill you up. Oh, Bill. Right. See this? Let me pick it out. That's a stone. I don't want that. I want that. That was a better one, Maya. Now we all know what this is. This is what they call red shale. Now the first tip in a row of 4, when I built 4 tips,
Yes.
was always on fire. If I was smoking, there was always sulphur coming out of it. If it was freezing cold, you could lie on these umps, because they were tumps, they were tipped, and they'd be on fire. Now this is due to compression of the components in the tip. It would catch fire. Every tip in South Wales has been on fire. Now you've all heard of the great singer from Tiger Bay, Shirley Bassey. Well, she made a little fortune out of this. She bought 22 lorries and decided to offer the NCB at the time, I will take all this away. And they said, and put your tips out there on fire. The ones on fire, I'll put them out. What she wasn't telling you was, she was coming with a lorry and a large digger, filling the lorries up and driving them straight, and you might see this on the news now, to Tata Steel in Port Talbot, where they laid all this over the sea in the sand and built Tata Steel or Port Talbot Steelworks on this, And this stuff is very hard, very solid, and that's how Shirley Bossy made half her fortune. She could sing a bit, mind as well. But red shale caught fire due to the compression of the soil, and that's what you get.
More rain.
Here we are on the Jam Pot Road. Now if you look over my shoulder to the pylon down there, the pylon, the grey thing. Our den was by that pylon. Now that is known as our bushy.
Okay then, Clive. Where did the nickname Monk come from?
Right, let's go down with a gang from the back streets. Now and then, they were buggers the bird nest, which you could do legally. Go and take an egg from a nest, and I could climb trees that they couldn't. So somebody said one day, you're like a bloody monkey. And Gerald Needs, there's a blast from the past, said, we'll call him the Monk. And that was my nickname from there on. And there's people I've known for 50 odd years that only know me as Monk. They don't know me as anybody else, only Monk. They know me as Monk the Biker. I also got some other funny, strange names from the colliery. Rusty Bike. But that's another story you don't want to hear. Here we are now on the Jam Pot Road, looking down on our den. Our den is the grey pylon down there, a tree that Billy's father built with whole conveyor belt and various other bits and pieces, dog nails and what have you. We used to spend hours in there, sitting down. Nobody could see us, as you can see, because it's covered by trees. The trees haven't grown much bigger because they're in a massive bog. That is all bog, it's right down as far as you can see. The other side is where the conveyor belt used to run. With all the trees are there now, there was a conveyor belt run up there. Before that, there was drums pulled up here on a haulage system. There's a big wheel just down over the bank in by there. We used to hide in there, out of the rain. The Jam Pot, you couldn't get in. The door was steel, solid, locked, with obviously a transformer in it. And this is a bit more of our hunting ground. We used to come up. As you can see, the white building in the background, that's Keepings' old shop. Sort of that area up there, to the first pylon, right in the distance. Up a little bit further and across the field. Then across into the bog and into our den. And we'd stay there for hours, talking and chatting and laughing what we're going to do the next day or the next time. It was a great time. Now I am standing where a large conveyor and a large green building was by there, standing right on it. In there was 3 or 4 old coal miners full of dust. The Cotters, they were a family living in Perthkellen, and they looked after this. And to take the spoil away, they were called Euclids. Huge green machines. They made a hell of a noise and a hell of a mess, but we used to bowl the old tyres down where we go now, down the tip. There was no forestry. They would see if we could get one into the river, the brook the other side, where Billy filmed the Tin Bridge, because it's on top of the Tin Bridge, this is. And they were quite friendly, all right, but they didn't like you going when they were flat out with the big green Euclids, as we call them. gone the other way. I knew we should have gone the other way. Right. You got me, this is where we used to be. This was all pine forest. Down the dingle, out the end, there was a large path through the middle. Play and run about in there and do what we called tree anchoring. Climb to the top of one tree, jump off to the next one, to the next one, to the next one, to see if you could get all the way to the end. Down in there was one very, very large one. And we should try and get to there. There's a bit of opening, then we'd stop. Also, this area was patrolled because of the tip by a policeman and a forestry commission man. The policeman's nickname was Angel. We never got to know the forestry man, we run like hell. Because he'd say, "What are you doing in here?" And if I remember rightly, the older boys used to catch 2 jaybirds. How they caught them I never know. And tie them together and let them loose in this woods to frighten all the kids. And they'd make a hell of a row. Can you remember that, Bill? The cackling
Not
and
really.
the squawking of these birds. Eventually one day we found them over the years and thought, and then we seen Colin Griffiths many years later in the pub Aubrey's, and he's laughing his head off because him and the boys used to catch him. Right, we're going to look now this way. In there somewhere is the old winding house and the steam. You won't see the steam crane. It must have rusted away 40, 50 years ago. Or they took it away, I think. We're going to go and find some of the remains of the old big concrete winding house. The woods is a bit thick and we should have come this way first, not up that bloody hill. Right. By the look of these stones, what's the thing is? Yes. This is where there's a boundary, look. You can see it. There's some big boulders in here, or not boulders, they're actually concrete. This is where the winding house went out. Across, there's a huge drum in here with a coil on it and a rope, or we called rope, wire rope, which dragged the drams up from down where we showed you, where the conveyor was. And this is the remains of it. Just beyond you, I'm not going in there, it's not good, was the steam crane. When me and Billy used to hide out of the wind and the rain, and it was steam. Everything would be turned off and the fire would be gone, but it would be lovely and warm in there. We spent many a time in there till it got dark in the winter and you would have to walk home in the dark. Right.
Ooh. Oh, age doesn't come by itself.
A bit muddy down by a bell. And that would be on the original, the last of the tips, the one that drops down into the crump. Oh, that's as steep as I thought it was. On rain now, bugger. So long then. Right now.
Yep. I'm managing somehow.
Coming back down is your problem. It's okay. Oh, push, Phil.
Clive,
Hello, bud.
what have I ever done to you?
All right.
I thought we were friends.
You're nearly there now, bud. Oh, first thing is up in on my feet. I should be used to this. Because there's a lot in. What's this set off on? Ah, Bill. Now here's something you want to get a photo of. That is the winding rope.
Oh yeah, look at that.
Now this,
That brings back memories.
oh yeah, this would go from where we showed you the jam pot up to the winding house and all the way down to Pendrakyba Colliery. That rope, it would be twisted, there would be a cord inside full of grease, and they were thousands and thousands of yards long and hauled 12 drams up to be tipped. I'm glad we found that bit, eh?
Oh yeah.
Right. Now I hope it's still as rough as it was. Right, all the way down. That's overgrown thorns. Can't see a bit.
Oh.
Go to the edge with it, and you can see how steep the actual tip is, right? Be careful now. I'm not phoning the air ambulance for you, boy, right? They do come.
Eventually.
Oh, they were pretty quick. It's only in Bridge End.
Is that the bull across there, Clive?
That's it, it's a bull.
That used to be the prefabs, isn't it?
No, yeah, that used to be a prefab, right?
That's right, my auntie lived there.
Right. Right. Now get your foot in by you. Right. That's how steep every one of these tips actually was.
I'm not sure you can actually see how steep it is on film, but
Oh, that's a shame, innit?
I can tell you it's pretty steep.
Ah,
And
now,
there's-
the weather wasn't so shitty, and we was younger, we'd walk down there and dig you out the fossil. But I am not today, unless you want to walk back around and around, and you pop out there around the tip.
let's
To fetch the walking stick. I tell you what we'll do.
let's leave it for another time, shall we?
Yeah, let's leave it for another day. And we'll go to the we'll go around the bottom, which is quite simple. You just go down the concrete road and around,
Okay.
and it'll be job done. Sun's coming out now, look. There's sunny and it's a bull down there. And if you look at the background, you can see the wine. And you nearly see the rugby field. And you all know all about the Ennis Bull rugby players. Staff Jones, Geraint Jenkins, and all of them are thick as shit. I shouldn't say that. I might get hiding off Staff Jones.
Okay.
Right, we've nearly finished now. This is Penrith Kyber Tip. We are standing on it. That was the entrance in. There was, as you see earlier on, a large conveyor, but there we're actually standing where the Euclids worked. Things have changed drastically here. And we're going to make our way down here back to the Jam Pod Road. Then we're going to go up to one of our other haunts. Ooh, now should I say this word? They used to call it Shagger's Rock. Can see Billy laughing and remembering. All the people in Perthkelly who carried on used to meet up there and do, as you can imagine, what they're doing. And we used to spy on them. Can you remember that?
Yeah.
Oh! That come to me in a flash. Nice afternoon.
In between the rain, yeah.
Oh, well, they're going to blow over, aren't they? Piece of a car that is, though. Isn't it? Yeah, it wouldn't be better, would it?
No. Ride our push bikes up there and race back down home, down the hill. But we spent a few good hours. This was all forestry, and we spent many hours here. But it was big forest, well open. You could go in there, and I'll show you what I'm talking about now when we walk in a bit. Now it's a little bit of a walk, so we'll knock this off and we'll get there. Tell them where you are. Topsy-turvy.
The grandstand of the rugby club, look.
Oh yeah.
This used to be all forestry again. You see where Topsy-turvy was? Top of the mountain. We spent a lot of time up here messing about. Bluebells would grow in the woods up here because it was sparsely open. And it was quite nice. Not like the other woods is thick, dark and miserable. These were the nice open woods. As you can see, the forestry has reclaimed it all and took it all away and planted what they call broadleaf trees now. And this is a forestry road not long made 10 years ago. Because there was nothing, and you had a little path up against the fence where we was, down into by here, and then a path into the woods. Narrow little path, going down alongside the farmer's wall. There's no farm there, not around by here. And here we are. This is where the genuine path would start. Now I think it's going to be too overgrown to get to the rock. What do you think?
Yeah, it could be.
So the rock is over there. Let's have a look. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Hang on now. It is just in there. There's a path go up there. Let's go and have a look. I haven't been up here for a long time. I don't think so. Ah, that's just, hang on. There's a go along that tree line into there because that's where the rock is, isn't it?
Yep.
Would have come up in the winter, then we would have seen the rock. Ah, down. Nope. Can't just get into the rock. Hang on, let me have a look in. No, we ain't gonna get to the rock there. It's too overgrown now. Just along here, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, it's
Just along here.
never do it.
You never go there. The ferns are dead. It's just for there. It's just sort of for there. Now this is a good view. As you can see, here's the rocky outcrop. Runs along there, and that's where that rock is, where they all used to be. Again, it's a ball over there. Now you wouldn't have seen that when we were kids. This was all giant pine trees, very, very big. But as you see, you saw them all down.
Back in the 60s, my aunt lived there, but they were the prefabs.
Yeah, they're now called Bertha Capel.
Bertha Capel, that's it.
Bertha Capel, and the green in the middle. I used to be a Meals on Wheels man, and later on, this is the crazy bit. In the middle where you can see the tree, you think, why is there greenery by there? Because there were shops supposed to go there. And you could walk through the shops, and the houses on the right were 150 to 100 to 200, and the houses on the left were 149 down to naught. But you can't drive to the ones on the left and the right because they didn't build the shops and there's no road through it. So if you got a delivery in 150, you drive all the way up Rock Terrace in, and you drive back out all the way around through the front of Glamfruit Terrace and then back in. It'll drive you insane. There's a wall running along there. It's forestry. And then you go down steep and you come out onto the coal tip down by the jam pot. I'll show you how steep it is. It was a nice walk. And it's good woods. As you can see, let me show you how steep it is. So this is the path we moved down. It remains of the wall by there. And we would spend all our days running around all you can see by here. The winding house is in the background, the tip is in the middle. This would be forestry, and we used to enjoy it. Right in the distance is the crazy farmer. Shall Billy tell you about him? We never went over there a lot. He'll explain why. I'll leave it to him because I'm doing all the bloody talking, yeah? But I'll give you his name. Bob Johnson. Right, ladies and gentlemen, this is where we used to race from on our push bikes. There would be me, Billy Hodges, Terry Bates, Paul Bates, and Dean the Bean. What was his second name? Dean what? Dean Jones, and my brother Graham, and there was still and the Griffins. But the Griffins were a bit strange. They were a bit of a lunatic-y family. So we'd line up on this thing by here, a joking line as you can see by the jam pot, and somebody would shout, 1, 2, 3, go, and we would go. We'd pedal like hell down here. There was hardly any traffic on this road at the time, and you can imagine, Terry Bates on a 10-speed derailleur, us on 3 speeds or fixed wheels. Guy Griffin had a fixed wheel, but he had a lot of brakes. We'd still be pedaling here. We'd be pedaling like fools across here. Then you take a deep breath and go over this rise as fast as you could. Dropping down here, no brakes. Do not touch the brakes because you want to be Batesy. this corner and don't hit the lamppost. And start 3-1 then and straight down here and start pedaling immediately again, as hard as you could, as fast as you could go. Down here is a little dip here, you'd get a little drive off here, and then back on the pedals as hard as you could. Faster and faster and faster you go down here. You nearly run out of steam, but you know you can't run out of steam yet. There was no pedals here then. This little hill would improve you. Then this pedal wasn't here. It was just flat out through here as fast as you could. Now the bit by here is, there's a slight rise. This wasn't here then. Just a little bit further down was the two houses in Stan Lasper's farm. Well, listen as hard as you could for the tractor and keep on pedaling. What you've got to do here, you've got to pedal flat out and hope nothing is coming down. Up you go. Start puffing and panting by here. You'll be out of the seat, pushing on the handlebars, pedaling as hard as you could, leaning over the front wheel so you get more back pressure and the back wheel would be lighter. When you go by here, you will have to put the brakes on. But you'd try and get a good place in front of Batesy. Then you'd look left and right here, which was, it was a bit changed. It wasn't quite like this. It was a kind of oak tree, but then it was a bit different. Then off you go. Down this hill. Now this is completely changed. You would go fast as you like by here. Then just anywhere by here you would start braking as hard as you could. Because you were going to take a sharp left through the farm. Keep your mouth shut because the starlings would sit on you on them trees. There's another U-turn in there. And then you'd come out just by here on this nasty corner in there. You pop up to there, down this hill as fast as you could now. You were really, and that's all you can see in front of you is Terry Bates changing into 10th gear on his arse. You wouldn't catch him now. He would pull away up here, he'd drop it into another gear lower, you'd be pedaling hard. You might get up to his back wheel and think, I nearly got him, and then all of a sudden he changed gear there and dropped down here pedaling. And for well knowing that you've got to stop just about here because that is the winning post. And that is the end of our little cycle ride.